Welcome to this week's video. If you are new here, appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, good to see you again. It is currently Monday evening and it is cold, and it is only going to get colder this week. I had been training in the winter up to this point, but now it is January in Colorado, and I'm being reminded of what January in Colorado looks like. This week is going to be a lot of running in very cold temperatures. I did look up and was reminded that at certain temperatures, it might not be safe to run outside. I did look that up. Basically, the consensus is between 5 degrees down, even to -18, some people say. Safe to run. That being said, there's a lot of precautions when doing that as far as lung health. Obviously, you can add a lot of layers, and if it starts getting too cold, even adding layers will have issues as far as frostbite or other things if you're out too long. But as far as breathing goes, one of the biggest tips is just wearing a mask or buff that will help the air around your immediate face and the intake into your lungs be a little bit warmer and have more moisture in it. The real issue is the dryness in the air mixed with the cold can be really damaging to your lungs once it gets too frigid out. On top of that, I thought it'd be helpful this week to just talk about some of the things that I am doing as far as layering up, adjusting my workouts to ensure that they're not too difficult when it is really cold out. Fortunately, as far as difficulty, this week is the taper week of this training program, going into what would be a half marathon. Just to give you a quick idea of what I am wearing today, against around 21 degrees, probably 19 by the time I get out there. Just wearing a beanie. I do have a turtle fur buffer. It just helps keep the face warm. Again, the air just a little warmer around my mouth and nose for breathing. I do have a Under Armour technical hoodie as well as a thinner waterproof Helly Hansen technical hoodie as the outer layer. This is really nice because it's very wind resistant. I do have my pack on so that I can put the phone in there when I'm not filming. That's nice, keeps my hands a little bit warmer because I'm not having to grasp onto something. Underneath all of this, I'm wearing another layer. The base layer is a Lululemon kind of technical sporty thermal layer. It's really nice. Your base layer, you always want something that's moisture wicking to whatever degree you can. I am just wearing a pair of Lululemon jogger sweats. Typically, I'll wear something underneath that as well, whether it's a legging or another sweat if it gets really cold. Right now, I think I should be all right. I only have a 3-mile easy effort. That's one thing that you should think about as well. If you do have a easier effort, you are not going to heat up as much as you would if you have a tempo run, a track workout, those types of things. So dressing for the cold is not only dressing for the temperature, but it's also dressing for your particular workout. I'll also be using both of these pairs of gloves for tonight's workout. I'll use these glove liners by Black Diamond for any runs that are typically 40 degrees or colder, and then as it starts to get real cold, talking 30s or below, I'll start wearing a warmer mitten. I would definitely advise grabbing a mitten. I already have these for snowboarding and other winter activities, and these are great. They're super warm, but if you don't have a pair, these glove liners aren't going to do it for you. Once it starts getting past 30 degrees, trust me, your hands will get very cold and it will be miserable the whole time. So investing in a good pair of warmer mittens makes all the difference. For shoes for this run, I'm going to be wearing my Nike Wild Horse trail shoe. It did snow yesterday, so there's a little bit of snow and ice out there. Always prefer having a little bit of extra tread that these provide when I'm going on runs where the surface might be a little variable. It's not ideal always to wear trail shoes when you're going to be encountering a lot of pavement, mostly because it's going to tear up your tread a little bit more, but I do have 2 pairs of these, so I'm more willing to wear them down a little bit and be on the safer side when it comes to running in this type of weather. Looking forward to a frigid week of training, so let's go train. Just pulled up to Vasa and we're gonna be doing repeats indoors this evening. It snowed a little bit last night and then it got just warm enough to melt and then refreeze. Things are a little bit icy at the moment. Don't wanna deal with the track or even going to see if it is or not. We'll just go and do it on the treadmill, get the work done. Tonight's intervals are 6x400 at 5K pace. That's gonna be in the low 7s for me, and then a 400 float between each of those efforts. Probably do a 800 meter warm up just to get the legs going, and then probably 800 cool down, let things loosen up before we head back to the house. Gonna try to get some more interesting shots, but we'll see how it goes. It seems very crowded in here this evening, so I'll do the best I can. Now Wednesday night. I took yesterday off. I have 2 rest days in this week because it's technically a taper week. Sometimes life happens, so I took yesterday off. We are picking back up during the training week. It is currently 15 degrees out, and that's just the air temperature. I think it's probably colder than that with the lake effect that we have near here. Luckily, I just have to do 2 miles, so it should be fairly quick. That being said, because it's a short distance, I'm also gonna not heat up as much during this run. So I have a lot of layers on. I have thermal leggings on under the sweats. I have Smart Wool socks, and these are actually my snowboarding socks, but they're a little bit warmer than the running ones, and they're still really good, and they're not going to cause any kind of weird rubbing or anything. Again, short distance, so not too worried about that. Up top, I have a Nike thermal, and then a full hoodie, and my outer layer, which is a technical hoodie, which is very warm. I'm physically hot right now, so hoping this will keep me warm enough during those 2 miles, even though I'm not going to be getting as warm from the run itself. I do have a little bit of a thermal gaiter on, which I'll keep over the nose and mouth just to make sure that I'm not irritating my lungs as much as I can. And I'm just wearing my regular training shoes because it's not icy out, so I'm not really worried about footing for this run. 2 more easy miles in the books. I did have a couple takeaways that I thought I'd share and things that I'm gonna take forward when training in really cold temperatures like this. First one being layering scheme worked really well. I wasn't overheating and I wasn't cold. I felt like I could wear that same outfit and run further if I needed to, assuming I kept that same pace. Always nice to figure out different outfits and layering schemes for different temperatures. It varies so much, especially as you get colder. 5 to 10 degrees can make a big difference. The second takeaway is you need a buffer over your face for breathing. I had that turtle fur over my face that I usually wear. It's fine if you're just using it to warm up initially and it's warm enough to pull that down, or if you're going much slower, if you're at a walking pace or even a slower aerobic pace, you could probably breathe pretty easy. At the pace I was at, it was getting mechanically difficult to get in the amount of air I needed to, so I pulled it down about halfway through the run and I could feel my throat getting cold. It was probably 13 degrees by the time I was done with that run. My throat definitely feels dry and still a little cold, and I've taken a hot shower at this point. So definitely advise having a buff that you can breathe through. I'm definitely gonna look for one. I know they make some that have kind of an elastic band and the fabric's a little looser, so it's much easier to run with. Definitely something you need, especially if you're gonna run further than I did, because even just in 2 miles, I was out there for 18 minutes and I could feel how that would be a real issue if you're going much further than that. It is now late Friday afternoon and we're about to go do a 30-minute tempo run to wrap up this week of training. That will be 10 minutes warm up, 10 minutes acceleration, getting down to 7:45-ish at the top end, then a 10-minute cool down. It is 30 degrees out, a little warmer than it has been the last several days, and the sun is still out a little bit, but we can't really count on that warmth because it can dip behind the foothills very quickly. That being said, today I am wearing less layers, but still have a decent amount of thermal gear on. on. So for the legs, I have a pair of Nike leggings, which you can't see, but then a pair of Lululemon joggers. On top, I have this Nike thermal. This is a little thicker than the black one I'll wear, and has a little bit more wind resistance, so I appreciate wearing this one if it's going to be my only layer. I do have the gaiter on, as well as a beanie up top. Probably won't pull the gaiter over my face because it is warmer out, but it's nice to have, keeps you a little warmer than if you don't have it. You can pull it up and have it tied around your face like a hood. Then I just have the chest pack on to carry the phone. Looking forward to this run. Getting a little running done in the sunlight is always nice when you have a dark week. 30-minute tempo run is done, and with that, so is my half marathon training block. Really enjoyed this training. It was a real accumulation of the blocks I'd done prior to this. Leading up to this training block, I had done a 5K and a 10K training block, and I think I actually did two 10K training blocks. So 5K, 10K, then 10K. And the biggest focus for me was really getting back into running with the 5K training block. I made sure that my paces were slower than I thought I needed them to be. I paid attention to my heart rate zones and tried to hit those very consistently. And a lot of times that meant checking my ego and ensuring that I was running slow enough that I was actually building a base and not just running as hard as I could and running at the pace that I thought I should be. I was really being very particular about my heart rates and building my base. As my 10K block happened and then my second 10K block happened, I gave myself a little bit more leniency to push myself in workouts and push myself a little harder in long aerobic runs. Then as I got into the half marathon portion, it really gave me the base and the fitness to propel myself through this entire training block. I felt like I was able to capitalize on everything that I had done in those earlier shorter distance blocks, and they had a huge benefit to my longer runs in this block, my speed work. Everything that was encompassed into this training was really supported by those shorter training blocks. I'd really encourage any of you, if you are starting over or starting from a new spot, or maybe you're just starting, it's exciting to go and do marathon training. It's exciting to go do long, big runs, but sometimes starting short and starting with the lower volume and really building your base solid will make that training and those longer, bigger blocks even more exciting, even more beneficial, and really propel you into the type of training and the type of success that you want. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel and helps people just like you find this content. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on post notifications so that you see new content right when it comes out. Otherwise, we'll see you on Monday.